Hello, astronomical advocates. Science Ben here for another survey of this month's sky. June 2023 features alignments, conjunctions, and opportunities for viewing deep space objects. Let's transport outside and discover our sky. It's Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. We're a week and a day away from the summer solstice. More on that later. Peering above the Science Center, we see not just the brightest object viewable in the sky, the sun, but the second brightest, the moon. Today's 25-day-old waxing crescent moon will continue to dim in brightness until reaching a new moon this Saturday, and the whole cycle begins over again. Removing the atmosphere from today's sky reveals Jupiter in close approach to the moon, followed by nearly invisible Uranus and tiny Mercury. Jupiter appears even closer in tomorrow afternoon's sky when it reaches lunar conjunction. Then on the 16th, Mercury does the same, appearing just above the Pleiades within the shoulder of Taurus the Bull. These, of course, are all actually currently obscured by light diffusion in Earth's atmosphere. So is there anything to see with a telescope during the day? I mean, all astronomers can't just work at night, right? We know it's a bad idea to look at the sun with unprotected eyes. It's the brightest object, and even short views can result in serious damage to our vision. It would seem like a really bad idea to point a magnifier, like a telescope, at the sun. But that's exactly the task of astronomers at the Mies Solar Observatory in Maui, Hawaii. Located on top of a mountain 10,000 feet above sea level, Mies observers use a series of sophisticated filters to restrict the full brilliance of the sun, allowing for detailed viewing. When we see a picture that includes the sun, it often appears white. That's because the sun's rays display all of the colors of the visible spectrum. White light is the result of the mixing of those colors. Scientists at NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory make observations of the sun in 10 different wavelengths of light, including colors that we can't see with our eyes. This is important as it allows for detailed study of solar weather, sunspots, and solar flares. Despite being 94 million miles away, these types of solar activity can and do have effect here on Earth. Solar flares have damaged power grids, resulting in blackouts, knocked out GPS satellites, and disrupted communication signals. Observing the sun from Earth can only happen when the sun's visible, so it makes sense that solar observations are best made during the day. Surprisingly, daylight hours are also a great time for viewing the moon. The moon does not produce any light of its own, rather it acts like a mirror, reflecting the sun's light back out into space. Despite only ever reflecting at most 12% of the sun's light, the moon is still the second brightest observable object after the sun. Times when its orbit positions the moon for daytime viewing, like today, are an excellent time for moon gazing. Pointing a telescope or binoculars at a daytime moon can allow for viewing of lunar features like craters and maria, the dark patches of the moon that are the result of dried up lava beds. The wash of nearby bright stars at night can at times make it difficult to view these features. This isn't a problem during daylight observation. Planets also reflect the light of the sun rather than producing light of their own, and it is possible to conduct planetary viewings during the day, but it is difficult. Fortunately, in tonight's sky, we can find the brightest planet, Venus, trailing the sun just as it sits through twilight, with Mars following a little bit higher in the sky. Tonight, both Mars and Venus reside within Cancer the Crab, Mars acting as the left claw tip and Venus just between the eyes. If you do have a low enough tree line and can wait for the sun to fully set, a dark sky will allow for naked eye viewing of a deep space object in Cancer, M44, the Beehive cluster, an open star cluster of around 1,000 stars that is the nearest open star cluster to Earth, a mere 577 light years away. Galileo observed the cluster with his telescope over 400 years ago. Without a telescope, the cluster will appear as a misty cloud just west of the midpoint of Cancer. Another naked eye visible star cluster can be found in the eastern part of the sky tonight. As Scorpio rises near the noctilucent clouds, look for a fine cloud about 3 fingerlings northeast of the tip of Scorpio's tail to find M6. Pointing binoculars, or maybe even zooming in with your phone at this cloud, can reveal another insect-inspired and shaped asterism, the Butterfly Cluster. The 80 stars that make up M6 move together through space in an area spanning 12 to 25 light years across, and it is believed they have been doing so for the past 95 million years. It's almost that time of this year to celebrate the arrival of a new season. At solar noon on Wednesday the 21st, the path of the sun will reach its highest point above the equator, marking the June solstice, the day with the most hours of sunlight for the year for those of us in the northern hemisphere, and the astronomical start of summer. Our globally southern friends welcome winter and the shortest day of their year. Also on the 21st, the United Launch Alliance, a joint venture between Boeing and Lockheed Martin, will be launching a classified spy satellite cargo for the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. How do spy satellites work and what other superpowers work in space? Join us for next month's Stream Into the Void as we probe not just how space exploration is used for discovery, but for defense. The second Tuesday of July, July the 11th. Thank you for joining us for today's Void, and until next time, keep discovering.